Okay, well. Welcome to the Hero Initiative podcast. I'm Rico DeCarlo Antonio, and this is Mike MacDonald. Thanks for coming, Mike.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I was so happy to choose you because uh, if anyone doesn't know us, Mike and I grew up across the street from each other, and we are cousins, like distance cousins. I think second and third cousins through blood, through my my grandfather's side, the Sprague side. And
second. Yeah, second,
yeah,
because my dad is your mom's first cousin.
yeah. So we're second cousins, and we went to school together forever, really, and all the way up to grade 12, right? Or yeah,
13.
yeah. We had 13 in Ontario. Yeah, so we went to
Yeah,
school to.
I think we were the last ones to have 13.
We were the OAC. We were the last
Or
group.
one of,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, we went cousins. We grew up across the street. I remember playing even video games and looking at records in your basement and playing whatever, I don't know, toys, in the backyard. You had with a pool and a sandbox back there.
no, we didn't have a pool. Um, we had a sandbox for sure just behind our house because
Yeah,
we lived right behind the ball field. So
yeah,
I didn't get we did like you. We didn't get a bus to school. We most likely walked every day.
yeah. I'd cut through your yard or cut through the Denny's.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then I can't remember what we did downstairs. There was records down there. There was toys down there, video games there too.
Yeah, so we had records. I have all of the records here
Yeah,
and my own, so they're all downstairs. They're all set up. But we had records. We had some video game stuff downstairs. We had a rack. I don't know if you remember this, but we had a rack full of movies, and
yes, yes,
they were all numbered. And I've got the actual. We don't. I don't know where any of the movies are, but I've got the book downstairs. In a cabinet that you could flip through. So you'd be upstairs in the living room and you'd flip through the book and you're like, well, I want to watch Ghostbusters. And you'd
yeah,
flip through and look for it and you'd find the number and
yeah,
you'd go pick the number off the shelf and you'd have the movie, but it was listed with like the movie list, who was in it and how long it was. And it was all done up. And I didn't get it at the time, but I look at it now and I'm like, all right, well, I guess
and
organization.
organization. And your dad put that together. Did he tape? Was that VHS tapes?
all VHS tapes, uh, all VHS tapes. We had two VCRs set up in the basement. So
Yes.
if we would rent movies from, let's say, I think it's now called Opie's, but I forget what it was called before.
Yeah.
Um, where the Spike and Rail is, or even Martin's, we'd have two
Yeah.
VCRs set up. So he'd either rent it and then he would copy it
Yeah. Yeah.
somehow. I don't. Let's just
So
say that we don't want anybody coming to our house to
the
for tapes.
the FBI is going to visit looking for
Yeah,
someone
that's right. That's right.
who had the two VCRs that they were renting from, I think, Albert's Confectionery, the Spike and Rail, and he got all the movies. He had a full library. You had basically a movie store in your basement, right?
Yeah, we had a movie store, we had a record store, um, we had a reel to reel machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had everything.
Your dad was good with the tech, and he was a kind of piano player or singer, piano player, dancer, host of the parties, right?
Yeah. I don't remember if your dad was involved in this one at all, but I think when we moved into the house
Yeah.
on Hemlock, um, I think the story is before they moved it in, they put the piano in the back of a truck and
Hmm.
they were driving around Capreol. I don't know who was driving. I think Fitzy was involved too. I don't know, but they were driving around Caprel. My dad was in the back seat of the or in the back of the truck bed, and
Yeah.
they're driving around Caprel as he's playing the piano. And yeah, I don't know. It was good. Was easier back then, I guess.
It was, I think so. I think so. It reminds me of like Dazed and Confused movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They must have been having like who knows what the rules were back then, but they weren't as strict as they are now.
No. No. Oh no.
Okay, so let's move on to the next segment. With the Hero Initiative Fitness, we focus on using models to figure out the exercise prescription and program for everyone. And there's different models that we use um, for this, and we can figure out the rest, the recovery, the amount of reps, the type of activities, the warm up, even supplements and food. So we tasked Mike with choosing a superhero that kind of fit him. There is a way to test for this, but it's fun to try to figure out who you are. And so we had there's a 1A type, and then there's a 3 type, and there's obviously the 1B and 2A and 2B in between. So there's about 5 different hero types. So what one did you feel that you matched up best?
Uh, I didn't match up with best. I think I matched up with more kind of two of them. I think I went with Deadpool and
Yeah.
which is A, and then Phoenix. I think just I read them both over and I was kind of like, I mean, I kind of fit with Deadpool, but some of it's definitely not me. Some of it
Mhm.
is definitely would be more close to what my brother is. And then
Yeah.
Phoenix, I sort of read it and I was like, okay, well, some of that's me. So I kind of, you know, mash them together and then kind of maybe we have our own superhero. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're matching the one character with the 3, and if you mash them together, you get like a 2A, which is Bruce Banner and Hulk, and Batman and Bruce Wayne, which is
Okay.
the characters who they're scientists, they're scientific minded. Um, they can switch, so their adrenaline is sensitive. So if they get excited, they turn into the Hulk or turn into Batman. So they could be either alpha male or the nerdy was called beta male, where they go off and if they're tired or weak, they feel they need to go in their bat cave or into their science experiment and then just get lost into there. So these people, the 2A doesn't really like pressure too much, whereas the 1A Deadpool is, he loves pressure. He absolutely loves pressure. He likes to perform under pressure. He can perform under pressure. He says what he wants. He's very verbal. He's very physical. You know what I mean? Whereas Jean Grey or Professor X, they're more intuitive. They plan behind the scenes. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Whereas 1A, Thor, and everyone, they just smash through things and get to the point. So you got a good balance between the two, right? So what did you connect with the most in those two?
Um, like connect with the out of
Like Deadpool, would you feel you connect with?
Deadpool, attending to burn a candle from both ends. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah, yeah.
I kind of I work for the railway, so that kind of just you don't really have a choice.
Hmm.
Um, I'm okay with rules.
Yeah.
I don't hate them, but I like to do things my way. I'm pretty set in stone. Like if it's
Hmm.
I, I've had to do things for myself a lot, so not saying I don't like help, but I like things done a certain way. So
Hmm.
um, I do like try and convince people that I'm right.
Yeah.
I can be impatient, 100%. Um, I definitely don't seek conflict like Deadpool. I prefer to stay way away from that. I don't
Yeah.
like any of that.
Yeah.
I don't really care what people think
Hmm.
about me. I used to a while ago, but
Hmm.
I've sort of just if you like me, you do. If you don't, well, I guess that's just how it is. It's not my
Hmm.
problem. I can't change what somebody else thinks. So uh, I'd like to say I'm good under pressure, but sometimes not. And
Hmm.
uh, risks, I've taken a few. I've taken a few, not extreme stuff, but it's so a little bit there that I've sort of resonated with, but
I like how
I
you
guess
I like how you said you connect with the part where you don't care anymore what other people think. I think that's a superpower in itself, right? When you finally say, "Oh, I can walk around naked in public," as a metaphor, right? Where you're like, whatever, if whatever that person feels or thinks, that's them. It's not your responsibility to form that other person's opinion of you, right?
yeah, like in high school, it was probably maybe not so much in high school because I had stuff going there, but um, in college it was pretty much like, does this crowd like me? Am I
Right.
cool?
Yeah.
Am I good with this? All right, cool. These people like me. I'm popular. People like me. This is good, cool, all that stuff. Now it's kind of like I could be out and I might only be out with one or two people
Hmm.
hanging out, and it's less of a, does anybody else in this place know me? Do they like me?
Hmm.
You know what? I could really care less.
Hmm.
Me and you could go out and I
Yeah.
couldn't care who else is there. I couldn't care if somebody has anything, like if somebody has negative things to say, that's great. Keep me out of it because
Hmm.
I don't really have, I don't have a lot of time for that stuff myself.
Yeah, I think that's the right attitude is like, why would you waste your time and effort trying to convince someone of you're like who you are, like you have no time or energy to do to go convince the world that this is who I am and this is concrete, don't change it, right? It's that's too much work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't have to do that. So, okay, so the next one I like the Jean Grey. So Jean Grey was she likes to plan like that neurotype there likes to plan things ahead. If they're doing exercises, slow and steady wins the race. Like they're more like walking in the forest, long distance um, races, yoga sort of thing. If you're in the gym, you see them on the treadmill or the stretching mats, or they may try something, little like rehab thing on their own. So this is a little more slow and steady, same routine, similar workouts. Don't change things too much because the nervous system reacts to it. They're more like serotonergic, which and GABAergic, which is more like the brakes. So they feel anxious all day long, but they gotta calm down. So a recommendation would be like a lot of like carbohydrates throughout the day to calm them down. But because they're so anxious all day, they have this like spidey sense or that intuition or that how Professor X can like remote view or how he can astral travel sort of thing. So how do you feel you connect with those characters that are organized and slow and steady behind the scenes, that sort of thing?
I'm looking at it on my phone here, so
Yeah,
ahead of time as you're talking, but definitely introverted. I
yeah,
definitely, if I'm out, I definitely don't try to make it seem as if, hey, I need to be the center of attention here. That's definitely not me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh, I definitely function better if I'm following a routine, if
yeah,
it's laid out for me
yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
I don't I don't go to the gym. I'm not my brother. I don't
Hmm.
spend hours amounts, but if I am gonna go, I would prefer it to be laid out.
Hmm.
I don't go in and freestyle it and just think, well, maybe today I'll do this or do this. I need it
Yeah.
laid out. Um,
Hmm.
I sometimes don't do well. Well, I say I don't do well with unexpected changes, but over the
Yeah.
last year and a half or so, definitely 100%, that attitude's changed. Um, Repetitiveness over novelty and variation. Yeah, I like the same things.
Hmm.
I stick to what I know. I observe things quite. I could sit back and watch a situation and maybe think this isn't going to go well. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
either we should be leaving or we should be watching because this is going to get good, kind of deal.
Start paying attention now, right?
Yeah, start paying attention because this is going to go down, and
Yeah.
you're going to miss this. I don't. I talk much. I do talk much. So, but I do a lot of thinking. Lately, I've been doing a lot of thinking. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah.
That fits. I
Um,
think that one fits you quite well. And give me an example, because I like hearing this of uh, maybe there's situations where you felt like a Jean Grey, Professor X, or like Spider-Man, where your spidey sense did go off, and like you were mentioning earlier, that was correct. Like, oh my God, pay attention, something's gonna happen. Like, can you think of something that you use your intuition for?
um, no, I'm not really sure. I'd like to say in the last couple of years, I definitely know, at least I guess we'll call it spidey sense, but I definitely get the feeling of over the last year and a half, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So I
Right.
do know what that feeling of like, it's like an aura, it comes up from your
Yeah.
gut and it kind of, you're
Hmm.
like, whoa, okay,
Hmm.
that's a thing.
Right.
So I think that's kind of like spidey sense, but
Yeah.
nothing's ever come of it. Nothing's ever gone further. It's just more, um, but in terms of like actual like, hey, the bottle's gonna come flying at my head type deal,
Yeah.
no. But in a situation of like, hey, this isn't good, this is going southward, yeah, I'm okay at figuring that stuff out. Uh,
Hmm.
or if it doesn't seem right.
Hmm.
I lived overseas and we walked, example, we walked, me and a friend walked into a bar, and the way it was explained to me was it was a disco type place and it was on the fifth floor of a building, and they said walk in and do one lap around the building.
Hmm.
Don't ever go in alone. Walk around and do one lap around the building and take a look at your surroundings.
Hmm.
If you get more than 5 or 6 people staring at you and it looks odd, you're not staying there, you're leaving. So me and
Right.
my friend walked in, did our walk around, and I picked up quite a few things that, we're not staying here because it's just us. If you went with
Hmm.
6 or 7 people, you'd probably be okay, but it was just the two of us, and he was fairly new to China. So we did our little walk around and we got back to the front, and I said, okay, we got to leave. And he's like, well, no, it looks
Hmm.
pretty good in here. It looks, I
Yeah.
said, you're not, I said, you got to pay attention, man. Like at least 6 tables stared at us and are just ready to, who knows what's happening here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan, and I ain't leaving you here on your own. So
Hmm.
we got to go. That's kind of, that's kind of knowing. I think that goes everywhere. You kind of have to know your surroundings and what's going on. You can't just, I was told that pretty quick when I got there, though. Like if you're walking from point A to point B, walk
Hmm.
from point A to point B. Don't stop at point somewhere in the middle and be like, "Hey, what's going on down there?"
Hmm.
That you don't want to know what's going on down there. You're going from your house or your apartment to the restaurant. You're going to the restaurant. You're not stopping and looking down an alley thinking like, "What's going on down here? What's this guy up to?" You don't want to know. That's not your concern.
Not your concern. Yeah. And I think you said you went to China, right?
Yep,
And
I
I
did.
think I think you went before me, I believe, right? I went to Korea and Japan. I think you were in China before me, maybe.
Yeah,
Or
I went
was
in 2004.
Yeah, yeah. So I know exactly how you feel. It's like when you're in a foreign country, you can't speak the language. Even the symbols are different. So you have to use that, like you described earlier, with that feeling that comes up. You know what I mean? You got to use that intuition and that spidey sense to interpret your surroundings. And we don't know, too much about science as far as human beings in general, but maybe there is that ability to like intuit the timeline of the future. And maybe it happens in sports, like you said, when you're getting a punch and you can move out of the way, or bottles coming at your head, and you move out of the way. So I think you have that ability to intuit, like when the surroundings aren't safe and you don't feel grounded, then you can like get that, like you said, the perfect feeling. You said an aura that comes up. I know that feeling because you don't know what's going on in foreign countries, especially with the language and the symbols. And you gotta start using your senses. And I think they actually get heightened when you do those sort of like adventures sort of thing. It's like, I don't know if you've seen that graph. It's like fuck around and find out, right?
Yeah, I've seen
Where
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the more you fuck around, the more you find out. So you get that feedback of like, okay, you get punched in the face enough, you're gonna put your hands up eventually.
Well, it's funny because when I first went overseas on my plane ride over there,
Yeah,
um, I'd made it to Vancouver, and the whole time I left, I got on the plane in Toronto. I got to Vancouver, and the whole thing in the back of my head was, okay, I can still turn around. I can
yeah,
still turn around. And
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
to the gate in Vancouver, and I checked in, and I was in the waiting lobby, And I was like, okay, I can still turn around. I can still back out of this. It's
Yeah.
not, you know. Then I got on the plane, and as soon as the plane got in the air,
Mhm.
about 30 minutes into that, I was like, oh Jesus, what the fuck have I just done?
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing here? Well, I can't go back now. Like now, what am I doing here? So
Yeah.
okay, I got to Beijing. Was it Beijing? Yeah, Beijing.
Mhm.
No, was it? Yeah, I think it was Beijing. I got to their airport,
Mhm.
and there was another guy on a plane with me, and he was the only white guy on the plane with me.
Mhm.
Uh, and I got off the plane and I was looking around, and he taps me and he says, "Hey, looks like it's your first time." And I said, "Yes, it is."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, where do you got to go?" And I said, "Well, I got to go here." And he points at this little booth, and it looks like a mob scene of
Yeah.
people just rushing a thing. And he's like, "You got to go down there, and you
Mhm.
got to give them your ticket, and you got to pay your fee to whatever, your tax fee." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, don't worry, I'll help you, whatever." Walk me through everything. Then I get on the small little plane, and it'd be the equivalent of a plane of going from like Sudbury to Toronto. And I'm on this plane, and I'm just listening to music. I don't know what's going on. It's getting late.
Mhm.
Uh, I just want to put my head down. And out of nowhere, the guy beside me, um, I'm in the middle seat. No, I'm on the aisle seat. There's a guy beside me on the other side, dressed up nice in a suit, and there's a
Mhm.
guy beside me in the center. And out of nowhere, uh, he's got a glass of Coke or whatever he's drinking. It's just right in my lap
Yeah.
completely.
Oh
I'm like,
man.
I don't know what's going on here. So I'm kind of sitting like this. I'm
Yeah.
yelling for the stewardess to come and talk to me.
Yeah.
She gets in between me. And as soon as she gets in between me, I look at the guy. I know he can't understand me, but I'm like, what is your problem? What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
She helps me clean up. I get off the plane. And number one, I'm already thinking, did I just make a big mistake here? Like, is this what I'm in for? I
Yeah.
get off the plane. Some guy comes up to me, grabs my suitcase immediately and starts
Mhm.
walking away. And I'm yelling at him, like, what's going on? I'm like, okay, this strike two.
Strike
And
two.
then the lady that hired me shows up and says, where's your stuff? And I said, well, some guy just came and took it. And she's like, oh, nuts. I owe him lunch. I'm like, what? Oh, we were playing a game, spot the foreigner first, and he won, so he gets to buy. I have to buy him lunch, and I'm like, well, next time, tell me you're doing this before
Yeah.
I show up. Like, I have the guy taking my stuff, and I have no idea what's going on, and I can't
Yeah.
stop him. I explained the whole situation on the plane to her, and she says, "You waited till someone got between you," and I said, "Yes," and she's like, "Good, smartest thing you could have done."
Right.
They might
Right.
have been up because the guy across from me in the aisle was kind of sitting there with his hands like this, like he was getting ready to get up.
Yeah.
And I just, again, you got to be aware and watch what's going on, I guess.
Well, I think we teased a good example out of you. So, going to a foreign country, even on a plane and doing these things. You said that you guys spilled Coke on your lap,
Yeah,
right?
full glass, just
Full glass, and then all of a sudden you put all these pieces together, right? And then you clued into you were saying they're playing a game, right? Right.
yeah. I was on a plane and I was just kind of like, something doesn't seem right. Like
Yeah.
you just don't get a glass filled up like that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just oops.
Yeah. Yeah.
As he's not even looking at me, he just sort of oops and
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
looks the other way, and I'm like, this doesn't seem right. So
Yeah.
I don't really know what to do, but I'll just be nice and call the stewardess and see what's figure it out.
And yeah, I think that's a perfect example of, and I know doing that you have to overcome these certain obstacles. So the theme of like the tarot cards is the hero's journey, and it sounds like as you're going, into the world of adventure, into the world of unknown. Remember, like when Skywalker and Neo starts to follow the rabbit, or they follow R2D2 into the unknown, and they remember they go to Mos Eisley in Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
And in Lord of the Rings, they end up going to where they meet Strider. I can't remember the name of the pub they go to.
Uh,
Remember?
I think it's the Prancing Pony.
Prancing Pony. That's exactly. Yeah. Good job.
I don't know how I know that, but that's what it is.
That's it. So they go to the Prancing Pony. That's where all this stuff happens. Like there's drink spill, there's little of scuffle. And that happens in typically most like comic books and movies, stories, and you get past that part. And things, you eventually even up there. At the beginning, you're a bit concerned, right? And that's where you use something like intuition. And I think that you just set a perfect story and a perfect example of how that can be used. So I think you do have that. And I also want to point out that you're pretty good at guessing music, even though the music hasn't been advertised as the main thing, like they're saying Beyonce or Bieber or Jay-Z. You seem to have the intuition to find the music that's up and coming. It's much like you're scouting for certain superstars in hockey or football or something. You can do that intuitively with music. Would you agree on that?
I think so. I like to think that I'm good at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting a mad echo, just so you know, but it's good.
You're getting a what? You're getting a what?
I'm getting an echo off your end.
Oh, an echo, really? An echo, really?
I could still hear you. It's like it's,
Just delayed?
but yeah, yeah, a little bit of a delay. That's fine.
Okay. So tell us a bit more about the epilepsy and you said the intuition of do you feel that's going to come on or not?
I don't really know exactly how it's supposed to work or what you're supposed to, they call them auras. I think they could be vocal seizures. I'm not the professional here, and
Yeah.
I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups, uh, and I joined them shortly after to try and get as much information as I could, just because I kind of, although my mom's in healthcare and my aunt's also at the hospital, I'd like to know more about it myself so that um, I have an idea of what's going on and I can sort of figure it out in case I have to explain it to someone, kind of like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So I'm by no means the expert on it, but you get sort of a weird, like I said, it's I call it a rising feeling, and it's kind of whatever, and then you get a feeling of deja vu, like something's happened before.
Right.
And it could be any sort of memory.
Right.
It could be a random one. That could lead to an episode. It might not. You don't really know. But I know that if I'm seated like I am now, talking to you,
Yeah.
and I get that feeling, I would probably just immediately say, "Hey, I'm not feeling good. I got to go lay down.
Yeah.
We got to cut it. I got to go lay down." And I would probably go lay down, put myself in a position where I'm not seated, and I would be able to kind of monitor what's, and I'll probably at the same time text a few people just to say, "Hey, I have a little bit of a off feeling right now, so um, I might text you later, but please check up on me and make sure things are good in an hour or two." Just to, you know, they never hurt. It's never a headache. It's never painful. It's just kind of, you sort of get that, all right, something's not cool. So let's kind of lights out and relax for a bit. Yeah.
So you feel that when you can kind of feel that coming, or two that's coming up. You text people, the lights out, calm, keep it calm, dark and quiet sort of things. Because I'm guessing.
Yeah, I try not to do too much. I try not to I'm okay with having music going just to keep me kind of focused a little bit, but
Right,
I won't
right.
watch the TV. I won't put the iPad on. I won't put Netflix on. It'll be it'll be like a Spotify playlist, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's just Spotify, something that I don't really have to think about too much. Um, I could even I could do Netflix and put it on, but the screen's got to be like down, face down, so I can't see it.
Right,
Um,
right.
it just seems to help a little more. Anything kind of relaxing that makes me feel better, kind of, I try to stick to. Um,
Okay. That's interesting. How you're saying that the visual stimulation, you said it, relaxing helps you. The visual stimulation, I know, people go, okay, there's flashing lights, or the lights, music video, there's flashing lights. Like you said, if you look your screen, your Instagram or something, all those flashing lights seem to overstimulate the nervous system. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, that was really echoey, but I think I got you. Um, yeah, not too much stimulation for me, anyways, and it's different for everybody else. So if you had epilepsy, for instance, what works for me might not work for you at all, might be completely different. So it really depends. It's all individual as to how you manage it. I don't think I have triggers yet, and if I do, I haven't figured out what they are. I don't want to figure out what they are. I hope I never have
Right.
to figure that out.
Yeah.
For some
Yeah.
people, it's coffee. For some people, it's alcohol.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
some people, it's lights. Thankfully, lights don't bug me, or flashing lights don't bug me. But uh, in September, actually, I went to see Elton John and Pearl Jam,
Yeah.
and there were a
Yeah.
couple of times I never had issues, but I would sort of just take the initiative myself. And if it got a little bit too flashy, either I would look down or I would kind of just do one of these and look at the floor, kind of just, I'm not willing to take the chance to, that's not a setting I want to figure out that that's a trigger. So
Right.
I just
Right.
kind of, you have to become more aware of you have to become more aware, because like I said, what works for me doesn't work for the next guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah,
I think that's correct. Like you're putting the full spectrum of, like, with MS, the MS doesn't show up the same always for everyone either. So let's say bipolar anxiety they don't always show up identical. So it's difficult for the doctors to all of a sudden that's treatment in this treatment. Whereas, like you said, um the epilepsy, you're starting to become aware of, okay, I'm at a concert, there's a certain environment around me, sort of thing, I need to react, in a certain way, and then you're preventing it, as you mentioned, like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go there to see what's next, like how dangerous, you're not that risk taker character. Is that right?
yeah. I think so. All I heard was a lot of echo.
Okay. So I'm wondering, yeah, I'm wondering if the whole thing's, I'm not too sure. What if I talk slower?
Like it comes through, but then it comes through, and then like you've said something, and then it's again.
Gotcha. Okay. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pick a tarot card. Can you see this?
Okay, the magician. Yep.
Magician card. I'm gonna share the screen. And can you see the screen?
I can see the screen, just I'm looking through my audio settings here because I wonder if it's just me.
Yeah, because I can hear my voice and
Separate audio.
it sounds okay. It sounds okay.
Background noise, no, nothing. Okay, no. It might just be on my end. I'm not really sure what the deal is. I'm gonna switch to my build. Can you still hear me?
I could hear you, but it stopped.
You can hear me though, or?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, that seems to have made it a little bit better. So I took the headset out. Okay, so I can see the screen here.
So the magician card is quite see. You can see the magician is holding his hand in the air, so he's connected to nature here. He's connected to flowers, and it represents heaven, and this is represents pointing down, and as above, so below. Plus he's got all these on his table, and the sword, the cup. This is like a coin, but it's not a coin. It looks like a coin with a star. He's got a staff over here. The infinity thing above his head. He's got his robe on. So the magician represents a young wise man. We got like I think Rafiki and Lion King are told us the bird and Lion King. We got Morpheus. We have Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're doing these things signed off, obviously, right? So it's hard. How does it help during like your journey? Like you said, you had some health issues. I know some things when you're younger, some things too. And so you're doing a lot of is there any doctors or wise man in life have helped you along the way, maybe helping you recently or currently?
That was very echoey. I'm gonna try and think of what you said there.
So any wise men in your life, like Morpheus or Gandalf, Rafiki, any coaches?
Wise people, yeah. I gotta think the answer might have been different like 10 years ago. But I think wise people, I'd I'd probably have to go. I'm gonna give you two answers here, and it's gonna be two of them are both my parents, and that's mainly because since I've had my stuff within the last couple of years, I sort of realized that, okay, I can't change what's already gone on. I can't fix whatever's happened. That's never going to change. Like I have a pacemaker now and I've been diagnosed with epilepsy. So I can't go back and change all of that as much as I would like to. I can't. So I sort of think, I sort of go back and look at my dad and think, okay, you know what? Here's a guy that pretty much did everything. I don't think there's anything he didn't get to do that he didn't want to do. I think he just did it. So I think, okay, let's just keep that attitude, move forward, think positive. And then I think the second one would be my mom, because I mean, she's been there since, well, forever. So and if I need advice, sometimes your mom's gonna give you stuff, tell you stuff you don't really want to hear, but you need to hear it. So I prefer that. I prefer that instead of like your friends that are always telling you what you want to hear. Sometimes you kind of have to. My brother would do that too. He would probably tell me flat out, "You're going to hear it. It's not what you want to hear, but you're going to hear it because that's you need to be told." So I prefer it that way.
Perfect, because you're picking three good role models there.
father, legendary character, very charismatic. If anyone doesn't know, Craxy, right?
Yep.
Actually very charismatic, our life and party, and you could probably put him in a TV show. You wouldn't have to script anything. You could just film him, and that person would be like the star of the show for sure. And your mom, I remember the nurse, she's in town, and she was right street. So I would get hurt, I would like either my teeth or something, go across the street, and she would have some sage advice from her, actually physically stitching me up or something like that. But it was cool. And the brother obviously huge inspiration for a lot of people. He's got videos and everything. He just doing what I do, and concepts and action. Try to keep up. So I think those are three good wise men for your journey. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that? This character's got a lot of tools on its table, like the sword is for like decisiveness, the cup is for listening, the staff is for walking. There's more things to, and the magician powers obviously. So what are some specific things, tangible things that you learned that you can use as tools now from your family?
I think I got all of that. Stuff that I can use. I think if I learned anything, it's just at points, and I think we know a lot of the same crowd kind of. So at some point, life's gonna suck, and it's not gonna be fun. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. So for me and you, a lot of our family and relatives and all that are older. So at some point, it's just going to be, as much as it sucks to say it, but at some point, it's just going to be one after the other. And that's it. So at some point, life's going to suck. And I think it depends on, and I sort of look at my brother in this case. You have a decision when life sucks. You can either let it suck and kind of just go down with it. You can go down with the ship and let it suck, or you can kind of just keep pushing forward, because I think at some point, at least in the last 2 years for me, I've had a couple of people I'm no longer friends with, and it seems like it's, you should be more depressed about what's going on with you and how this is like, with what happened and all of this stuff. And to me, it's like, why? I don't get the point. I've got too much I just don't see the point of dwelling on stuff that's already happened that you can't fix, or you can't. I mean, sure, you can fix things, but I mean, I can't change getting this put in. I can't change having epilepsy. So what? I don't understand why some people want you to stay in that mindset of, I should feel bad for myself because these things happened. I sort of like to think I'm pretty positive about the whole situation, and I'd like to think this is a positive thing that happened, because health issues aren't really positive, but I like to think the opposite of that. I like to think for some reason or another I'm still here, so let's think positively about it here instead of sitting there. I could be sitting on my floor here, huddled in a ball, wondering why this is going on. And I'll be honest, within the first 3 months of me having all of this stuff go on, there was some nights I didn't go to sleep because I was kind of worried I wasn't getting up. And it didn't last long. I got out of it, and I was kind of like, okay, you know what? No, I'm tired. I got to go to bed. I'm tired. I need sleep, because if I don't sleep, I'm probably not getting up. So I got out of that mindset pretty quick, and watching my brother post all of his inspirational stuff, and I talk to my mom daily. I've been talking to her daily now, even if it's just to say hi, bye, no news, thanks, talk tomorrow, done. Been doing
Right.
that for years. So I think my brother posting, although we don't talk a lot, we talk enough, but he posts a lot of his positive stuff. So does his wife. My mom's always talking to me. We laugh all the time. So I figure, what's the point of just being negative all the time? There isn't one. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm a little too positive. Maybe my head is in the clouds a little bit sometimes, but I don't think there's anything wrong with thinking positive 100% of the time.
Yeah, I think you got it right. That's a great answer. And it fits too with our magician card, where the infinity symbol represents that basically this is the hand of cards you're dealt. And you better learn how to play with that hand of cards, with a block on your face or like that their face, and not reveal it to everybody. That's everyone gets dealt the hand of cards, and it's neither positive nor negative. It's just you've got to play with that. And the sword represents decisiveness. So you're saying, okay, I just got to think positive now. I can't help the hand of cards. I was down, so I'm going to just think positive and play in this hand. I'm going to play the game as best as I can. Like in martial arts, you reference your brother. You just bite down on your mouth guard and you just keep moving forward. And we've seen him do that in professional fighting too. So the ability to have tenacity, that willpower, it can't really be taught. And I like how you use the sword in this situation and the infinity symbol to realize that that's just kind of the nature of reality. Things happen. Life does suck, and it's good sometimes, but sometimes you just got to bite down your mouth guard, move forward. You got that hand of cards. It's not great, but you bluff your way into the final pot and you try to win your way through. So I think that was a great answer. So, did you get that one?
Yep.
Okay, so moving on, what we're going to do now is the dad joke segment here. So I'm going to pull up a dad joke, and you're going to put water in your mouth and try not to laugh as it's going on. Okay, I'm going to say about 3 to 5 jokes and see if you can make it through all of them. Are you good with those instructions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so. I just got to pull this up. Okay, so number one. You ready? Number one. Which bear is the most condescending? A panda. Number one. What's brown and sticky? It's pretty simple. It's a stick. How do you get a country girl's attention? A tractor. Okay. What do you call a pudgy or chubby psychic? A fortune teller. Fortunes. Get it? Okay, last one. What do you call it when a group of apes start a company? It's monkey business. Okay, so that's good. You can swallow or spit out.
Yeah, the last one is what got me.
Yeah, I like those ones because they sit in there for a while and you're like, oh God, that's so bad. It's good. Okay, so the next part of this here, we're gonna go into like if you're gonna like give advice to people, and I think this is huge. If you're gonna work out, what is the ultimate soundtrack? What's the song that's gonna get you up and going, and what's the rest of them that are gonna get you through it? Tell us about music and how it's gonna pump you up.
I think it depends on what you're attempting to. I think it depends on what you're attempting to do in your workout. It would also depend on the type of workout. Like, sometimes you want to listen to. Sometimes you want AC/DC if you're going for a run or something harder, something a little bit faster, or sometimes you want like if you're stretching, sometimes like if you're stretching yoga type stuff, you don't necessarily. I don't think you necessarily want to listen to "Eat the Rich" by Aerosmith when you're doing some yoga. That just doesn't seem like it would fit. But again, I think everybody's different. So, like I said, like back to earlier, what works for me probably might not work for you. Stuff I like, you might not like. And so I look at my brother's videos when he works out, and a lot of it is a lot of R&B rap type stuff. And
Yeah,
if that works for him, by all means, keep blasting it, keep doing it. I don't. Everybody's got their own stuff that's going to get them moving, get them going. So, hey, if it works and you like it, listen to it. Just, I don't think there should be any rules as to what someone listens to.
no, there's definitely not rules. Like it would be different for everyone. And just like I was saying earlier with the actual reps, the rest, your warm up, your recovery, your supplements, your food, it is different for every person, and that's what makes it unique. So let's say you don't want to work out, and you got a workout plan and scheduled by your coach or trainer, and you need the one song that's going to pump you up to when you automatically say, okay, I'm in now. What's the one song that gets you?
I think there'd be a few of them, and I think the first three. I think the first 3 or 4 songs on that list. I think the first song on that list would probably be. It would be a more bass forward track. It would probably be "A Forest" by The Cure.
Okay, yeah.
"A Forest" by The Cure. Probably "A Play for Today" by The Cure. And 100 Years by The Cure. Anything by them, that's as long as it's fast and moving, let's go. I'm in 100%.
That's interesting. So the cure is your cure for lack of motivation.
Yeah, they've 100%.
I would have picked. There's one Akon, Never Gonna Get It, and it was a video with Floyd Mayweather just doing all his fancy stuff, and that always got me, woken up in
Yeah,
the
I
gym.
like
Now
that
that
one
you
too.
mention it, yeah. And you mentioned AC/DC, so Thunderstruck would be something like, boom, okay, that goes on. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna start moving.
Oh, see now, see when I think of AC/DC, I think of Iron Man, and I think of when he comes
Oh
into the
yeah,
Stark Expo with "Shoot to Thrill."
Shoot to Thrill. There you go. There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
a good one too.
And the reason why I like this, and I'm liking talking to you about this, is because you can see the way if you're like organizing the hockey game or organizing the football event or the Super Bowl, like what song do you play while that team comes out? We used to play Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, is it?
Yeah.
And that was our opening theme. So when we came out on the ice, we would have the helmet off and we'd have the hair flowing in the wind and we'd be skating around a Crazy Train, and that pumped us up, and that was our ritual. And then when we won, I can't remember the song we played, maybe We Are the Champions. we would play that as a ritual as we went in the dressing room. So, human beings have been using music forever to open a ceremony and to close a ceremony, right? Or to do it, to set things up and to knock them down. So directors know this for movies, they know it for soundtracks, commercials. It's a big part of human, obviously the superhero movies, they have these awesome songs in there. I think Nickelback was even in a Spider-Man. Remember that? And so tell us how music can, motivate people and why you think it does it.
I don't know. I don't exactly know how it motivates people. I know it gets to people in different ways.
Mhm.
I know the first, I vividly, and I still have a hard time hearing the song today, but I know the first song I heard on the radio, and it wasn't even a radio. It was in my,
Yeah.
it was in my headphones. I know the first song I listened to after my dad passed away. It was Goo Goo Dolls, and
Okay. Yeah.
I usually I have the collection downstairs, and if that's the album that's on, that's the song I skip. Can't do it.
Oh, right. Right. Right.
Now, I wasn't always super big into The Cure. I liked them.
Mhm.
I didn't. I liked them. I liked most of their poppier stuff. My dad didn't really have a lot of that stuff around. He was more classic rock, so I had all that stuff, but he didn't have a lot of that stuff. But I heard them. I think our last year of high school in February, they put an album out. It came bundled with
Yeah.
old school Winamp, and I heard that, and I heard that, and it brought me 2 years back. And I said, no, I need to know more about this. So I did, and so I think in terms of motivation, I think it'll inspire you. I run a podcast myself. It's music based, and
Mhm.
I put an hour of music together and put it out on the internet. And I think you'll hear something and it'll either make you think of something or it will get you to seek out more stuff. I heard a band on Instagram called Dear Boy, and I was scrolling through those Instagram stories and they came up as an ad. And I normally skip through the ads, but I was doing something and I said, I'll just let it play. It's a song, whatever. And it was only like a 15 to 20-second ad. And within that ad, I stopped what I was doing, went to the computer, looked them up, started listening to their stuff, and personally messaged them and said, hey, based off an Instagram ad of like 20 seconds, I found everything you've put out. I've listened to it, and I've already bought your album. Like,
Right.
don't know what you guys are doing, but keep doing it. And I guess you've been out since 2016, but not really. You're now more active. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it, because I definitely, they responded. They were super nice, and I've liked everything they've put out. So I think motivation wise, I think once you hear something, you're either going to want to turn it off or you're going to want to do something. Look, what's the, I forget, I think it's Spider-Man Far From Home, when Peter starts building his new suit in the jet plane, and
Yeah.
at this point Tony Stark's already gone, but
Yeah.
Happy Hogan looks back at him and Led Zeppelin's playing.
Yeah.
He's building the suit and he's like, okay, this is exactly what Tony Stark would have done. Good song, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
start doing stuff. So I think that's what, I think it gets you to want to do stuff.
Yeah.
I think it wants you to do stuff. Like, it helps you get stuff done, I think.
Yeah. Yes. And that's a perfect example with the Spider-Man and Stark sort of thing. Because as you're telling the story, I got goosebumps. I'm like, oh yeah, that's when he's got his brand new suit on, right? And he's got the glasses and stuff with Edith. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, he doesn't have. He's. I think he's given up Edith at that point. He gave him to Mysterio,
Yeah.
but he's got to build himself a new suit, and he's
Yeah.
going through the exact things. Got the arm and the thing like this, and
Yeah.
Hogan
Yeah.
looks at him like, and poor Peter has no idea who Led Zeppelin is,
Yeah.
or I think
Yeah.
it's Led Zeppelin they're playing, but he has no idea the band that's going on, and it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, yep, makes you want to do stuff.
It does, and it's like inspiring is a good word. Like when you think of like, oh man, almost got Tony, a little bit of Tony Stark in him, right? So they've timed that perfectly to pick the perfect song, to say that perfect situation, and all the audience, got connected with it. Okay, so now we're going to come up to our final question. So extraterrestrial. So extra means something outside the Earth, so maybe there's those synthetic beings with puppets and the big eyes and whatnot. They're coming in on their cigar shaped with UFOs, with their underground, deep underground bases. I don't know. Or there's beings here which are hybrids. Are they hybrid beings? So half human, half something, which would be Terra and astral. So extraterrestrial, astral plane, which is like spirits or ghosts or interdimensional beings. So what's your thoughts on these extraterrestrials or extraterrestrials?
100%. I'm in 100%.
You're
I
in.
think they
Okay.
exist. Um, I think they exist. I think it's a thing.
Mhm.
I just re-listened to Joe Rogan podcast with Tom DeLonge
Yeah.
about
Okay.
with this To the Stars Academy and stuff like that. I'm 100% in. I think they're out
Yeah.
there. I think they've been here. I think they're not telling us things.
Yeah.
Again, because it's superhero themed, kind of.
Yeah.
If you think about it, I get why they're not saying anything,
Right.
because what do you, if it, let's go 50-50 and say that we're not sure. But if they
Mm.
are there, how does someone come out and tell you, by the way, these things, these extraterrestrials exist, they're out there. And if they decide to go rogue, we don't have any way to stop them. We can't do nothing. They're way more
Right.
advanced than we got. We're screwed. We're done.
Mhm.
That's the end of us. We can't do nothing.
Mhm.
I
Right.
think if you want to kind of avoid mass panic or hysteria, you say nothing. You say nothing. You hide it. Nothing exists. You leave it all alone, and that's it.
Mhm.
But I'd like to think we're not the only ones out there. I'd like to think there's stuff going on that we're not aware of, or
Mhm. Yeah, I think you're on the right path there. And I can't confirm or deny. I haven't seen anything personally. But the United States just released a document that's saying the Air Force and the Navy just spotted 360 different, unidentified aerial phenomena, the UAP, and in 1 year versus them reporting only 144 over the last 16 years. So these are big announcements that are actually on television or in the news. And if you look at the superhero theme, how many characters are not from this planet, right? That Thor's not from here and Loki's not from here. They come through portals all the time. And I think Guardians of the Galaxy, they're not from here. So George Lucas covers a lot with the Star Wars, not from here. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is Spielberg. Those alien skulls are not from here. Obviously, his E.T. movie is not from here. And then his Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So these different, movies might be disclosing this to us slowly, like you mentioned. So you're slowly feeding the population so you don't want to lay down the hammer. You want to like keep it a bit under the radar until everyone kind of figures it out. So I think you
gauge
nailed it on the head there. What's that?
gauge the response to see what they're going to do first. Because I mean, I wouldn't want to find out that there's something out there that's going to Independence Day type stuff that's going to attack, and we can't do nothing about it. I mean, it is what it is.
Mm.
I guess. I'll be Homer Simpson on the roof with a beer. I can't drink, so
Yeah,
near beer, but like I'd be Homer Simpson
yeah,
standing there on the roof, like, woohoo, yeah, let's go. Figure it out.
yeah. You're referring to the episode when the asteroid's coming in and he's just
Yeah,
watching
that's
it
right.
before
And
it
everybody's
explodes?
trying to
Yeah.
drive out of town and he's on the roof with a beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. And you were referencing that earlier when you're like, I don't really care what anyone thinks anymore. I'm just gonna be Homer Simpson on the roof with the beer as the asteroid comes to kill everyone, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You
Yeah.
can't look, if you looked outside your window, if NASA tomorrow said a comet's gonna hit Earth in mid-August and we have no way of stopping this, well, what do we do? Nothing you
What do we
can
do?
do.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do. I'm not smart enough to stop that. Um,
No.
so okay, I'll wait and see what happens. That's you know,
Hey man, that's a great answer. That's why I picked you for today because I knew you would know the references to the superheroes, you would know the references to the aliens or the Simpsons or not. So I thought that's probably one of your superpowers is, and maybe you got that from your dad because he had libraries of stuff, right? He knew the music, he knew the movies, he had like a whole bunch of stuff in his head and he was able to express it. So, and maybe you got that from him, but I knew you'd get those, you know, those nerdy references. And like I said, I don't care anymore either. So if I'm a nerd, I'm a nerd. If I'm a jock, I'm a jock, whatever. Um, I do love this stuff, so I'm glad you're able to speak on it. So I think that's really sage advice, Mike, to just be Homer Simpson on the roof with a beer.
as kind of simplistic and stupid as it sounds, yeah, I think
Mhm.
ask the right questions, obviously, but ultimately be Homer Simpson on the roof, and just whatever. That's once I had everything happen to me, that's where I sort of just said, yeah, I'm Homer Simpson on the roof. It's already happened,
Mhm.
so let's just
Mhm.
let's move forward and let's keep going until we can't go anymore, and that's where I'm at. So
Yeah, like drive the car right in the ground, eh?
yeah, well, government doesn't trust me to drive right now, so I'll drive it as far as I can, and yeah,
I guess I mean the body as a vehicle.
yeah,
You
that's
just
right,
like
that's right.
you ha you hand it back to God. Well, like I think Spider-Man did that too. He handed the suit back. Like, what'd you do to my suit, man? Well,
Yeah, he
I,
dropped it,
I,
Spider-Man 2, he dropped it in the trash can and or at the end or something, or it was, I don't know which one it was. One of them he gave up and he had an
yeah.
existential block or something. I haven't had that yet, so I've just
Mhm.
sort of kept on, as much as I said earlier, some people have said like, why aren't you more depressed? Why aren't you more upset? I've had a number of
Mhm.
people, if there's two people telling me why am I not still depressed, I've had two people write back saying, wow, you should be depressed and you're not.
Mhm.
Whatever you're doing, just yeah, let's keep doing that because that's yeah, just keep doing that. Uh that helps. I'd like to
Like the
I,
support you're saying? The support helps?
yeah, the support helps. It helps and it doesn't help sometimes. Because
Mhm.
sometimes people want to be too supportive, and I think that can be a thing too.
Mhm.
I'm pretty lucky with my support system, so I don't really have a lot of problems there. Um, but some people can be too supportive and think you need all of the help and
Mhm.
you need someone to do everything for you.
Right.
I think that can be a hindrance. I don't think you need someone to do everything for you. So
Mhm.
um, I get the right amount of support. We're not going to do everything for you because you have to do some stuff on your own. So figure it
Mhm.
out. You know my mom as well as I do. She ain't. There's no handouts. At least with our parents, there's no handouts. You want something, you're doing it. That's
Yeah, pretty much.
um. So yeah, I think there's too much support. I think there's uh. I've got a good middle ground. Of
Yeah. Yeah. Good
you'll be
balance,
helped
right?
when you need it, and I also know that I also learned that if I need help, I have to ask for it. So that's another
Mhm.
thing people need to figure out. If you need help, it's never a bad thing if you need the assistance. It's never a bad thing if you got to ask for it. Um,
Yeah, I think that's it, and I think that fits with the magician, like the wise man theme. My brother and I joked too, like when you're in trouble, right? And whoever you're with, you look at your buddy, you're like, how bad are we? I don't know, just find Morpheus, find
Yeah,
Morpheus, find Gandalf, find Yoda, find Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just find the help as soon as you can, because we're over our heads here.
yeah, I've been there a few times.
Yeah, you're over your head, and only guy that's gonna come save you is Gandalf, because these guys are like the magician. They're supernatural characters, or Obi-Wan or Yoda, or you get the idea, where there's a point where we're limited and we get stuck. And like you said, don't be afraid to ask for help, because this is their job. The mentors or the coaches or the wise man archetype, their job is to literally help. And that's what they're experts at. So I really like how you said that.
Yeah,
Have you had like any cases where you had like that wise man or something from unseen hands of like coincidentally or synchronistically helped you, like a out of nowhere?
I don't really know. My memory's kind of shot at the moment, but
Hmm.
I know overall in general, I would say if there's is there a specific is there a specific incident? I would say no. Um,
Mm.
but overall, within the last 2 years, well, actually, yeah, okay, so maybe more specifically, the first night I actually ever had problems with my health. Um,
Mm.
I was off work and I was actually trying to get into a Zoom type call like this with a bunch of
Mm.
random people. It took me a little bit of time to get on. It wasn't working, couldn't figure it out.
Mm.
Stuck with it. I got on, and I don't know what time it was, but much like I'm talking to you now, there was like 7 or 8
Mm.
people. Much like I'm talking to you, I just went kind of sideways and down. Uh,
Oh, wow.
and I was gone 20 minutes. Apparently, this is what I was told. I got up and I was turning everything off, doing stuff. And like, let's say your brother,
Mm.
whoever else was in this room, they're all screaming at me like, hey, what's going
Mm.
on? And you're bleeding. Like, what, what's up? I went to bed,
Wow.
nothing. Guy we went to high school with, his name was Lee. He's knocking at my door at 1:30 in the morning. And I mean, at 1:30 in the morning, when you're banging on my door trying to come in my house, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
uh, you're at the wrong house at 1:30 in the morning. Like, what are you doing?
Mm.
Get away. Now I can hear him coming around because there's a window here and it goes into my back bedroom, whatever. Um,
Mm.
and I could hear him walking around the side of the house. And I'm like, now he's coming to the back of the house, thinks I'm not home, coming in my now wrong house again, banging on the
Mm.
door. I finally let him in and we were talking and he says, no, this is kind of the moment where the moment of like, hey, you're going to do what I tell you to do because you don't know what's going on. So he
Mm.
says, you're going to the hospital. I'm taking you in because I'm going to make sure you don't have a concussion or nothing. And I kind of just
Right.
said, you're right. Yep. That's not a bad idea. Let's do it. Let's go. I changed,
Mm.
was putting my shoes on, and I passed out a second time on him. So
Oh,
that was kind
really?
of the moment of now I don't remember that. I remember getting up in the
Mm.
morning. Uh that's really about it. But that whole evening, the way he explained it and from what I can remember, that to me says like you said, Obi-Wan or whatever, hey, you're in trouble and you need to get help. So I'm gonna be the one to do it, and
Mm.
you don't have a choice. So
Right. Right.
do or do not, there is no try.
Yeah,
So
that's it. That's it.
I didn't really have the choice. I mean, I'm passed out. I don't really have a say in the matter anyways, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, that's again, that's a good answer. where the it's not it was a physical person, like you said, Lee came over, but the idea of like a supernatural aid of coincidences in the story that forces you to, kind of awaken or like see something or change behavior or habit. Where like sorry to hear about you're scared to go to sleep at night, you pass out, you hit your head, till you have a concussion, you got to go to here. You feeling of ores, that's tough to deal with all that stuff. But it could be like a blessing in disguise, like along in the future. You know what I mean? Like you said, okay, this happened and this happened and this happened, and now I'm here. Well, I just got to bite down on my mouth guard or keep going.
Yeah, like if you're talking supernatural stuff, I was supposed to work that night and I had called in and booked
Oh,
off. I sorry mom, you're not gonna like this one, but I definitely wasn't not sick. I just
yeah,
didn't want to work a work train. So
yeah,
I booked off. I think subconsciously maybe that was, well, absolutely it was the right decision, but because let's be honest, if I wouldn't have booked off work, I would have been on the work train and it would have happened there. And I might have been
yeah.
somewhere where I could not have been able to get to help. So
Hmm.
supernatural wise, I think that was probably something saying, don't go to
Hmm.
work tonight because stay home. And like I
Hmm.
said, I was having a hard time getting into the Zoom meeting with a bunch of
Hmm.
random people I don't really know just to chat with. And
Yeah,
kept telling me, no, just keep trying. Just keep trying. It'll be worth it. Just keep trying. And yeah, I think that might have been supernatural wise. I think that might have been what we're looking for here. Just
yeah. I think so. I think that's it. And as you're talking, you seem to discover more things too, right? And that's clear. Is that a clear card there?
yeah.
So you can see how he's pointing up to heaven with his like it's almost like a staff or like he's like a conduit. So he represents the ability to connect with the supernatural. I can't confirm or deny, like I said, if the supernatural exists or doesn't exist, but I've had a lot of those experiences like you had, where all of a sudden the narrative has been like manipulated with unseen hands or sort of thing, right? I can't explain it. That's why we're here talking about it, because it's good to talk about it. It's fun to talk about it, and it's okay to talk about something that's outside of our regular conversation. So, thanks for sharing that one for sure. Now, like I said, sorry again for the epilepsy and the situations you had. That sucks. That truly does. So, what do you feel your path forward is now? So, what's your goals for the future? You're Professor X. You're Jean Grey. You're the Phoenix. You have psychic powers. You can send and manifest anything in the future. What do you want?
Uh, health. I'd like actual answers as to why I've got this, because I
Hmm.
don't have those answers yet. So I'd like
Yeah.
to know what the cause is. So far, they only happen when I'm asleep, so that's perfect.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I'd like to think I'm kind of like Iron Man now because I'm kind of robotic. I have a
Yeah.
battery device in me that keeps me alive, so it keeps me going. So that's cool. But I want health. I'd like to figure out why this stuff happens so I can
Hmm.
kind of minimize stuff that so for some people, like I said, some people it's lights that trigger them and they can't do stuff, so they're not going to
Yeah.
see they're not going to see the latest Marvel movie, or they're not going to a
Hmm.
concert unless they got sunglasses on or anything like that.
Hmm.
uh, I know those aren't triggers for me, at least they don't seem to be, so that's good. But
Hmm.
in terms of why it happens, I have no idea, so I'd like to figure that out. I have the ultimate sort of, yeah, I don't know what I want. I don't really need a lot of stuff. Um,
Hmm.
just health and success for myself and my family and friends and
Hmm.
relatives and anything like that. I don't really, there's not much I've ever really needed or wanted, kind of.
Hmm.
I think ultimately my dream would be like I work for the railway. So I think my ultimate dream, if I wasn't working for the railway, I think my ultimate dream would be I'd have a record store probably. Um,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I think that's what I'd be doing if I wasn't working for the railway. So I also used to do radio. I did radio for about 2 years here in Sudbury at the
Mhm.
university. So I'd either be doing something there or uh, owning my own shop, kind of. Yeah, I think. But I think ultimately, in terms of what's next for the future, I want health, wellness, and not just for myself. I want it for my family. I want it for my brother, his kids,
Mhm.
you and your family, my relatives, anybody,
Yeah, yeah.
anybody that needs it. Um, yeah, anybody that needs it, to be honest.
Yeah,
Even
that,
if I
thank
don't
you.
like
That's
you,
a very, yeah,
even if I don't like you,
that's a,
I want good things for you. I think everybody deserves it.
yeah, that's a good attitude to have, the Care Bear countdown sort of thing, right? The heart, the aura you were saying, it just extends out to everything and everywhere, and maybe you have that power. I don't know, and maybe music allows you to be the conduit. Like the magician here. He's on the cover of the deck too. He reminds me of like the DJ, on the table,
Yeah,
the spinning records sort of thing. So he has that ability. The DJ has ability to be the priest or the shaman that sends the energy out, because like you said, the music is inspiring. And like, so you want the answers to your disability or your issue, and you want some clarity on that, and you want health for yourself, and you want health for everybody else. So I think that's a good message. And the one that's sticking with me is the Homer Simpson on the roof with the beer. Just say whatever,
we're on
just
the roof.
F it, right? Just whatever, man. You can't, if there's, aliens in the military, and there's like COVID, and there's like storms coming in, like what are you going to do about all that? You can't do much other than sit in the roof and just grab a beer and then enjoy the show, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
And then
yeah, I
do
think you get one go around at this thing. So if you're
mhm,
not if you're not trying to make it the best go around you can, I
mhm.
mean, I don't want to say what are you doing, but I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you get one shot, right? So let's use that and look, you might not you look at the TV and you think maybe you got wow, look at this guy. He's making a difference. He's helped everybody across the world. Mark Cuban wants
Mhm,
Mark Cuban, for instance, wants it's got the Good RX plan, whatever it is, with the
mhm,
cheap medicine for people in the States, and you think, oh, he's making a difference. I want to do that. Well, you know what? If you've helped one person and that's it, well, you've just kind of done the same thing. So
mhm,
you don't really have to help. You don't have to be my brother and help like 100,000 people get in shape. You don't have to be Mark
mhm,
Cuban giving a million people cheaper medicine. You could be
mhm.
one person going to Costco buying a blanket for someone that sleeps on the corner of the street here because he's cold. And hey, if that guy says thanks, well, you've made a difference to someone. You don't. That's I don't know. I just don't. I don't think you have to, and I don't think you have to do it in front of a camera to prove it to someone. I think as long as you know you've done something, then I guess that's what matters. I don't know.
Yeah, it might
I
be
always
recorded in
thought
the
like that.
universal. Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Like you don't have to do everything. You can just do one small thing, and maybe that pays forward. Maybe it's recorded in the Universal Library, or maybe the Pay It Forward movie, where it just keeps domino affecting. That's the
Yeah,
might
that's
how
right.
it might be how it works. All right, Mikey. So thank you for coming on the show. That was awesome. I knew you'd be a hit, and you know everything I was talking about. And thanks for sharing the story. And I hope you get that record store one day, and you're able to solve the issues with your condition and get the answers you're looking for. So
Most
thank you very much.
yeah, like I said, mostly all of that stuff's figured out. Just
Yeah.
smaller kind of answers about like um why, not so much why, but like I can't change all the whys. So to me, it's
Mhm.
just like, hey, if I get answers, I get answers. If I don't, well, you know what? Uh, yeah, I'll just, like you said, I'll just drive myself into the ground until I can't
Yeah.
anymore. Look, my
Might
grandma's
as well,
94 and my grandma's 94 and she's on Facebook still. So, I mean, if I
Yeah.
if I can be that lucky, I mean, fair enough. It's good for
Well,
me.
yeah, you got the DNA. It's in the DNA, man.
Yeah, it's in ours, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Take care,
Okay,
buddy.
you
Thank
too.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.